Battle of the brutal barbaric leaders. Who will win? Thanks for joining me here at Master Art's Combat Corner. I am Master Art. As promised, a discussion of who would win in a one-on-one, bare-handed fight between Lord of the Rings' Helm Hammerhand and Game of Thrones' Khal Drogo. Unfortunately, there isn't much we know about Khal Drogo's skill without a weapon, but there's enough for a master of the combat arts such as myself to use to have an idea of what he's capable of. And even more unfortunate for Helm Hammerhand is that there isn't really much about him at all. But we have a good idea of what he can do with his fist, since it appeared to be his specialty in battle. So let's start with a little background of these two warriors, beginning with Helm Hammerhand. Helm Hammerhand was the king of Rohan from TA 2741 at the age of 50, until his death in TA 2759 at the age of 68. Like much of Helm's life, there isn't much said about his appearance, but he is described as being clad in all white and stalking his prey, resembling a snow troll. From this short description, we can assume that he was likely very large and bearded like a snow troll, much like how he is depicted in the animated movie Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Now how about Khal Drogo? Drogo became Khal in 298 AC at the age of 31, until his death in 299 AC at the age of 32. With copper-colored skin, dark hair, mustache and eyes, Drogo is tall and muscular, which was also well represented in the Game of Thrones TV show. It is clear that both competitors are large and powerful warriors, but what do we know about their prowess as hand-to-hand fighters? Again, let's start with Helm Hammerhand. Helm, unlike Drogo, is said to rely solely on his fists in battle. Firstly, killing the leader of a rival group, the Dunlandings, with one punch, it was said that he would enter any battle with no weapon in hand, and it was believed that him doing so meant that he could also not be harmed by any weapon. Now, how true this was is unknown, as no one was able to slay him in battle, but in this time he was greatly feared by his enemies, whom believed no man could possess such strength that he had to be something greater than human. Was Helm Hammerhand something more than human? Unlikely. His enemies likely created these stories that Helm was an inhuman monster as a way of understanding how one man could be so formidable without the use of weapons. A powerful man to be sure, Helm Hammerhand met his end in TA 2759 by being frozen in a blizzard. He was found still standing and ready to continue the fight. How does Khal Drogo compare? Well, this is the one area that has less information than Helm Hammerhand, due to Drogo's reliance on a curved blade called a rock. However, there is one fight in particular that is very telling of the unarmed skill of Khal Drogo, and why I believe he is likely the greatest hand-to-hand fighter in the Game of Thrones universe. In a disagreement between a Dothraki warrior Margo and Khal Drogo, a one-on-one fight to the death took place. In this fight, Drogo, being confident in his unarmed skill, dropped his weapons and swiftly dodged every strike until he had enough and easily caught the blade to redirect it to slice Margo's throat. Using his great physical strength, Drogo proceeded to rip the man's throat out with his bare hands. Like Helm, Khal Drogo was undefeated and stayed that way until his death by infection in 299 AC. Now, for the conclusion of who I think would win in an unarmed fight between Helm Hammerhand and Khal Drogo. In my opinion, using the limited information we have on the two warriors, I believe that Helm Hammerhand would be victorious in the end. As formidable as Khal Drogo proved to be in the fight with Margo, Helm simply has more experience relying on his fists over weapons. I do believe it would be a long and hard-fought fight between the two. Both are ruthless in their style, but a big difference that would favor Helm over Drogo would be their attitude while fighting. Helm Hammerhand is driven by one goal, to destroy his enemy, which would be his mindset if he saw Drogo as his enemy, and for the sake of this hypothetical, he would. Khal Drogo, on the other hand, was a highly skilled warrior with or without a weapon, and was undefeated right up until his death. His impressive skill in battle made him cocky, and facing a man that is unarmed would likely make him overconfident in battle that would ultimately end in his defeat. That is my take on this hypothetical unarmed fight between Helm Hammerhand and Khal Drogo. This was a big hypothetical, as there is little information on their unarmed skills, but was fun to talk about. With that said, I would like to hear who you think would win in an unarmed fight between Helm Hammerhand and Khal Drogo. Now it's obvious why I included Helm, but I only chose Drogo because of that one fight he had, where he was unarmed fighting an armed opponent, and my personal belief is that he is the best in the Game of Thrones universe. So, if you have knowledge about Game of Thrones, please list who you think would be the best hand-to-hand fighter in their world. Until next time, Master Art out.